What's up, world? How we doing today? MIB, I'm back with another reaction video. You already know, if it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and also put recommendations for future videos in the comment section. Today I'm going to be doing insane ways people actually quit their boring job. Shit, I know we all got a few of them stories, but today I'm going to be reacting to a few of historic stories. I know that sounds weird, but yeah, I'm going to be reacting to some real ways some people quit their job in the most extraordinary ways. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm jumping straight into it.
Their resignation letter. Come with us as we explore the most insane ways people have quit their boring jobs and give you some ideas for how you might stick it to your boss in the future. We're going to start with some truly ingenious ways that people have quit their jobs and then work our way to the more extreme cases. However, this first exit is one for the history books. Traveling can be stressful, but think of how difficult it is for people who work in the industry, such as flight attendants and other professionals that are all responsible for keeping travelers safe and happy. One man got so fed up with it all that he quit in one of the most epic ways possible. On August 9th, 2010, Steven Slater had had a tough day. He worked as a flight attendant for JetBlue, and passengers aboard his flight had been particularly difficult. He tried his best to remain calm and keep his cool, but as they pulled up to the gate and no one followed his instructions to remain in their seats, he snapped. The plane came to a stop. The excited murmurs of the passengers filled the cabin as they unlocked the overhead bins. Steven picked up the mic for the intercom and unleashed a barrage of curses and insults at the stunned customers and shocked crew members. When he was done telling them all off, he dropped the mic, grabbed some cold beers from the onboard fridge, and turned toward the door. The plane was stopped, but the doors weren't connected to the boarding bridge yet. Slater couldn't wait any longer. He quit then and there by opening one of the doors, releasing the emergency inflatable slide, and sliding down it with beer in hand. He was later arrested, but he made his point clear. He quit the horrible job and didn't give a damn about the consequences. This is a cautionary tale to be nice to your flight attendants because you never know when they might have had enough, and you definitely don't want to make them quit mid-flight. Sometimes a boss just doesn't get why their employees quit. Marina Schifrin wanted to make sure that it was obvious how talented she was and how hard she worked. So she created an awesome video to ensure there were no misunderstandings about why she was resigning from her job. Schifrin was employed by a media company that created engaging news stories. She worked long, grueling hours, rarely asked for time off, and was often the last person in the office. Yet her boss had no appreciation for the work she did. Schifrin had put her whole life on hold for the job because she really wanted to show her dedication.
Meet Filmora 11, the video editor that can do more.
And I just can't get enough. Dedication, and she believed in what the company was doing. However, no matter how good a company is, if your boss is unappreciative and rude, it's time to leave. Schifrin used all of the skills and techniques she learned at the company to create an incredible YouTube video of her dancing around the empty office late one night to the song Gone by Kanye West. She showed that quality is always better than quantity when it comes to creating content. At the end of the video, she made it abundantly clear that this would be the last thing she did for the company. The video itself received millions of initial views and is currently about 20 million views. Needless to say, quitting in a creative way like Schifrin did can actually be better for your career than sticking with a job with an awful boss. If there's one person in a company you don't want to piss off, it's anyone who works in the IT department. They have an intricate knowledge of the company's systems and can cause mayhem if they're not treated kindly. This is why these next few insane ways to quit all have to do with programmers. It was a quiet day at the office. The boss was feeling pretty good.
It's so easy for them to quit because it's like, bro, you guys are stuck in offices all day or cubicles and all that other type of shit. So it's like, damn.
About himself as he just unloaded one of the programmers in the design department. The issue was only a slight bug, but he felt he needed to show those smug programmers who was boss. In reality, he was just being a dick. So the programmer took things into his own hands by locking up his boss's computer with a program he developed. The best part about it was that the only computer affected was the one his boss used, so everyone else at the company could continue to do their work as usual. If they clicked on the ignore button, the message would just pop up again. The HR button sent him directly to a link where he could schedule a meeting with the Human Resources Department. Basically, the entire computer was locked until the boss met with HR or the programmer who quit to admit he was wrong. Things could have been a lot worse for the boss in the company, but this is one programmer who got his point across in a non-destructive way. Some programmers leave their companies not because they're unhappy, but just because a better opportunity presents itself. When this happens, their resignation is more fun than damaging. Take one programmer who coded a Super Mario simulation and then sent it to his boss. When the boss completed the level, the screen didn't say congratulations, but I quit instead. However, it wasn't just his boss that got to enjoy this fun game. He sent the program around the office so everyone could play. The higher-ups probably didn't find their employees playing Super Mario super amusing, but it was a pretty cool way to let everyone know he'd be leaving the company. Sometimes people who quit end up being the heroes of the office. This is especially true for one programmer who was just crazy enough to lock management out of their own system. The company was doing some pretty shady stuff to their employees. One day, a boss asked one of the programmers to restrict network access for certain employees who he wanted to secretly punish using an undisclosed disciplinary action. The programmer asked the boss if he had cleared it with HR first, as this request seemed a little sketchy. The boss said it would be fine, but the programmer asked to see the proper paperwork. This did not go over well, and the boss became upset. He claimed his request was just a precautionary action, but this turned out to be a lie. A few days later, the management of the company came back to the programmer and forced him to implement the program to restrict certain employees' access. Since he could do nothing to stop them, he complied. Fortunately, the programmer had decided he'd had enough. Instead of restricting access for the employees, he locked the management out of their own system and put them in timeout for their behavior. The programmer had changed the network password and then quit, so there was nothing the management could do to him when he walked out of the office. Before leaving, he had given HR the new network password and explained to them the shady requests management had been making without consulting them first. When the bosses went down to HR to figure out what was going on, it was likely a pretty uncomfortable discussion about ethics at the company. But the programmer left by sticking it to his bosses and perhaps making the company a slightly better place to work. As a rule of thumb, if your employees have access to a large sign outside of your establishment, you should probably do your best to keep them happy. If you don't, you can have employees who quit using these extremely funny ways. One gas station employee had clearly had enough of his crappy job and demanding boss. To make his displeasure clear and let his boss know he wouldn't be coming to work anymore, he rearranged the letters on the sign outside of the station one night. When the boss returned to work the following day, he was greeted by this message. But gas stations aren't the only ones with large, changeable signs outside of their establishments. The greatest thing about the way these employees quit is not only is their resignation clearly obvious, but it alerts the people who
Hey, if you got a terrible boss, fuck them. I ain't sitting around for nobody that's gonna treat me like shit when there's so many jobs out here and opportunity. Fuck that, especially when you got experience.
the signs that the management is not treating their employees properly. For example, at one Taco Bell, an employee named Adam got clever with the sign and even used 2 apostrophes and a tilted C to make a smiley face. His message was clear and to the point. James, who worked at Hardee's, was a little nicer about his resignation. He at least gave his boss 2 weeks' notice on his sign. But that is nothing compared to the unhappy employee who quit their boring job at the grocery store. They didn't even bother with a resignation letter. Instead, they used a clear and concise set of words to make their intentions known. Management probably knew from who was working the previous night which employee changed the sign, and they would need to start looking for someone new to work the night shift.
That's all I'm gonna do for this video. I'm gonna do a part 2 to this video, see how y'all like it and stuff like that. I know they be talking a lot, but yeah, these are some funny ways to quit your job. Appreciate everybody to tune in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and check y'all out. And don't forget, these weren't even the worst ones. These were just the beginning.